Uber and Lyft are in full-on defense mode going against the AB5 bill that will reclassify independent contractors as employees, and in some critics' eyes, they are using tactics that are downright shady to get the drivers to go against the bill, even if they might in reality support it. Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur, and yeah, we got to talk a little bit more about the AB5 bill. I know it's going to be it's been a big topic for a few days. It's probably going to be a big topic for a next week or two, because this is really crucial, interesting stuff. For a while, it was New York that was kind of like the state that regulated Uber and Lyft. At one point, we had Texas that was trying to regulate Uber and Lyft. You know how that worked out. They actually fled the state. They came back when they were a little bit more receptive to what Uber and Lyft wanted. Then New York City decided they wanted to put their own regulations on there. Uber and Lyft threatened to leave. They didn't. They're working with it. And now California, which is arguably one of their biggest markets, is actually considering really drastically changing their whole business model. And they just went public and have admitted that if the employment status actually changed, they could be really hurt and might not even be able to do business. So a lot of questions have remained. Will they stay in California? Will they leave California? I will share my opinion of it probably tomorrow. However, for the meantime, let's talk about the stories about how Uber and Lyft are using some shady tactics, allegedly, of course, to get drivers to go against a bill that they may personally find beneficial, and how their competitors are actually taking advantage of the situation. However, before we talk about any of that, let's have a word from our sponsors. Times are changing for gig workers and the gig economy, and there are a lot more gigs from a lot more companies than there used to be. That's why when people ask me where they can go to find resources for the gig economy, I recommend gigworker.com. At this site, you can see what other gig workers are doing and discover better opportunities from industries, companies, resources, and even a forum where you can talk with other people in the gig economy. Gigworker.com is a great resource site, whether you work for Uber, Lyft, Postmates, DoorDash, TaxRabbit, Thumbtack, Upwork, whatever. There's a gig for you and there's a forum for you on gigworker.com. Gigworker.com for all your gigs. So here's an article from CBS San Francisco Bay Area. Uber, Lyft use apps to get drivers to oppose employee status. Now, we kind of already talked about this a little bit, but for those of you who might have missed that video or wanted a little bit more elaboration, here's what's going on. Fearing a proposed California law that would clarify, it's supposed to be classify, that drivers for Uber and Lyft are employees, the companies are sending messages to drivers through the apps they use to work, asking them to oppose the law. Quote, when I press to go with Uber, I get a notification, and the notification says, protect drivers' flexibility, explained Al Aludi, a driver with both Uber and Lyft for 8 years. Well, my cap off to you, or beanie. I salute you for sticking around that long. He says the in-app notifications are usually about important issues like money or safety, so drivers check them regularly. The companies send less urgent messages to drivers' email. Boy, ain't that the truth. Aladi walked Capex through the notification. A click on the... Can I close that window? Can I close this window? No, I guess we're just going to have to let it play there. A click on the Protect Drivers Flexibility button leads to another page that says, Fight for driver flexibility in California, and recent changes to California law could threaten your access to flexible work with Uber. Unless the California legislature takes action to modernize the law, you could lose your ability to work with multiple apps and control when and where you choose to drive with Uber. Italics in the original. Underneath that language is a button to sign the petition, which my personal opinion is I wouldn't do it. I personally don't recommend that. Some people, they might want to sign it. It's in your app if you want to sign it. Uber's making it pretty well known. Tapping Sign the Petition leads to a page with several paragraphs about the need for flexibility in a plea to make your voice heard, followed by an editable text box already filled in with company-provided language opposing classification on employees. So, yeah, that's already shady. Drivers need only fill in the boxes for their name, zip code, phone number, and email, and tap to send the message to lawmakers. Yeah, so they're not even letting you use your own words. Everything's pre-filled out. How gracious of Uber to fill out this form for you. I mean, they must assume you don't know what this is. It's like, oh, no, here's the thing. Sign the petition. We'll tell you what to sign. I didn't know this because obviously I didn't even attempt to sign it. I was never going to sign it. That would have definitely been a red flag. Lyft has similarly sent in-app notifications to drivers through the message, though the message is less didactic. Lyft notification says lawmakers need your input and does not provide a pre-written script or petition to sign. Well, that again gives off the impression they're a little nicer. I mean, they're not, but it gives off the impression. It does provide a place to take action by filling in one's name, contact information, and message. Then with a tap, it sends your email to lawmakers. Alaudi says he sent a message in the Lyft app by mistake. Quote, I just realized I did something wrong. I took the action. I wasn't reading everything. He's concerned that other drivers, especially drivers with limited English literacy using the Uber app with its pre-written message, might fill in the forms because the message is among important notifications from the company. This is not an unfounded fear, by the way. Now, what's going on here, Uber and Lyft are actually not forcing you to sign this petition. Boy, would they be in trouble if they did. However, the way that they are presenting this, it really makes it look bad. Like, they don't make opting out of it easy. Like, you have to do things in the app to actually get out of signing it. Otherwise, they really walk through. It's like, oh, here, click this button right here, and here's saying, okay, click here, and then you go there. And then I think that's when you can actually go back and ignore it. So basically, this message has been very, very intrusive, and some people who might not be reading it, and you should read it. However, like the user agreements we all sign without reading, people typically don't. They might think that, hey, we have to do this or else we can't drive anymore, because that's what Uber and Lyft has done before. Whenever they change the rates, when they change the destination filter thing, they always pop up a new user agreement and they say sign here. They don't let you get out of it. You have to agree to their terms before you continue using the app. And yet, when you can look at the video we did, that's what it looks like. It looks like you have to accept the terms, or you have to sign the petition, I should say, to continue using the app. So I think a lot of people actually just sign the petition and it's pre-filled out for you already. Don't need to worry about anything except your name and your zip code and your phone number. And now you have like a bunch of people signing a petition they might not actually agree with. So anyway, here's the thing. Also, by using their own apps for the political campaign, the companies know who has participated. Quote, it's their app. They know everything. Everything. Yeah, someone actually did suggest that if you didn't sign the petition, they might deactivate you. And I wish I could say I was confident that was going to happen. Unfortunately, I'm not. If you don't sign this, yeah, they might actually deactivate you at some point. If this bill passes, the people who didn't sign the petition, they would probably be the first to be deactivated under the guise that we just have too many drivers. So, unfortunately, that seems like a valid fear. I'm not going to say they're going to do that for certain. They might not. However, they know who wanted them, Uber and Lyft, to basically keep, exploiting them, and who didn't want Uber and Lyft to keep exploiting them. So they might actually take it out on certain people for the bill passing. Anyway, K-Pix reached out to Uber and Lyft about the recent actions. Uber offered no response. Lyft sent this statement. We sent communications to California drivers about this important issue that has the potential to significantly impact their work with Lyft. Drivers have since sent tens of thousands of messages to state lawmakers saying that they do not want to be classified as employees because they understand that the overwhelming majority of employees work on fixed schedules. They value the flexibility that driving with Lyft provides and want that flexibility to be preserved. We will continue to work with lawmakers and labor leaders on different solutions so drivers can continue to control where, when, and how long they drive. And by the way, if this thing passes, they can still offer flexibility. They just have to do more things so that you can stay independent contractors. That's the one thing people don't realize about all of this. If Uber and Lyft decide after this bill passes to keep you guys as independent contractors, or all of us, they can. They just have to do some things differently. Lyft also did confirm if a driver chooses to write an email to the lawmakers, we can see that. Yeah. Anyway, Lyft responded because, of course, they get to have the last word on that one. And then they go over all the things. So anyway, one of the drivers said, the flexibility, I don't know what they're talking about. For us, still, we have to work in certain times to make money. Otherwise, you're not going to make money. They say we have flexibility, but we actually don't. And then they talk about the heat map, the area shaded where red drivers are. It's like, see, they make us go there. They control where we go. Well, again, that's a little deceptive because, yeah, you don't have to follow the heat map. And in fact, not chasing surge is something that I actually recommend people do for years because the surge will most likely disappear before you even get there. However, they do, it is a huge incentive, and so it kind of pushes people in that direction. And finally, one of the drivers said, now Uber and Lyft, finally they asked the driver to give them a favor. I don't do that action. We have no rights. If you get deactivated, you get deactivated. You cannot talk to nobody. That is true. So anyway, that's Uber using shady tactics. Basically, the way that thing is presented in the app is that, well, it looks like a user agreement. Some people can't even read English. Like, now I do wonder, like, if a driver actually specifically says in the app that they speak Spanish, would Uber and Lyft be so shady that they might actually send the English version and with like maybe a line or two of Spanish that says just sign it right here? I don't know. I wouldn't put it past them. We have no confirmation. Just wondering, because it is true that there's a lot of Uber and Lyft drivers who can't speak English, and that becomes a problem in situations like this. Now, as for the cab companies, I mean, we might as well talk about this briefly. If the window will switch over, because it's looking like my Edge Explorer is actually locking up. So that happens once in a while. Nope, we're actually moving. This is the other thing I want to talk about. It's kind of a side note because people have been asking, what about the cab drivers? Do the taxi cab drivers have any response to this? And here's, if it loads, I don't think this is going to load actually, so I might as, oh, there it is. Here, this is from the Post and Courier. Charleston cab business creates ride-hailing app to disrupt Uber and Lyft. So this is Jerry Crosby of Yellow Cab of Charleston. Here's what the article says. Uber and Lyft were having a meteoric rise. His peers in the taxi industry were shuddering, so Jerry Crosby waited and watched, developing his idea for another iteration of a ride-hailing service. His idea is several years in the making. This summer, the longtime cab company owner is ready to put wheels to the pavement. In the coming months, Crosby of Yellow Cab of Charleston plans to mount a challenge to the ride-hailing giants operating in the area with an app of his own. His planned launch comes only weeks after both Uber and Lyft raise a combined $10.4 billion in their initial public offering. It's like Crosby will be angling for a sliver of the ground transportation market that Uber and Lyft have upended. Crosby is hoping for a few key promises will attract riders and users alike. He will not allow surge pricing, a feature of other ride-hailing apps that drive rates higher during peak ride times. Prices will be flat and the same as the standard cab, $2.50 for every mile, which is pretty much what we were getting when we started. And he hopes people will want to support a hometown company. So first of all, I'm going to give this guy a lot of credit. There's a lot of people on my channel who talk about creating an app so that they can do this, on their own time. Very few actually do that. Crosby actually did, and by the way, his app's name is called Select. So hopefully he doesn't get sued for that. Not only did he create this app, but he has shown that if Uber and Lyft leave California, the cab drivers know that there's an appetite for app-based cabs. They will create their own apps and people will download them and they will use them. Yes, they will be more expensive than Uber and Lyft. Guess what? They won't care. It'll be easy to hail a ride and they can still get home and not get a DUI. So my perspective from all this is that California will be fine when it comes to transportation if Uber and Lyft decide to leave. I know that's not the main topic, but here's the thing. You see a hardworking guy like Crosby who is actually making something of himself and creating an app to fight Uber and Lyft. And you see Uber and Lyft, he's basically working within the bad hand that he got dealt, which was the arrival of Uber and Lyft. And meanwhile, Uber and Lyft are threatening to leave and trying to use deceptive tactics to sway the government to vote in their favor for something wrong they know they are doing. Big surprise. Anyway, we're going to leave that there. Because I want to hold off on my opinions about Uber and Lyft leaving California until tomorrow, at least. Anyway, I'd love to know, what do you folks think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you feel this has been very deceptive? Do you think, no, this is actually perfectly fine? I'd love to know. So, comment below. Like, favorite, share, subscribe. If you enjoy my videos, consider becoming a Patreon member. It's totally optional, of course, but even as little as $1 a month goes a long way to helping the channel run smoothly and you get access to my Patreon's exclusive blog. Also consider subscribing to the Apptrepreneur Vlogs channel. There's more content there, a little different than what's usually on this channel. It's more like the first video we uploaded today. And if gas prices are getting you down, check out the Get Upside app below. It's totally free, but you get cash back on every gas purchase. And if you want to talk to me or other fellow rideshare people, check us out at the Apptrepreneur Hangouts on Facebook. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.